So continuing on, uh, sometimes you see it where and this happens a lot with sometimes with these well-known Islamic figures, such as Hamza Yusuf, and Sheikh Hamza came under a lot of fire when he criticized the certain things from different other communities. So he made the comment about illegitimacy rates among African American families in the United States, and also criticized those who rebelled against the Syrians who rebelled against the regime, and he came under a lot of fire for that. So whether you're using type of any type of factual, even if it's factual, statistical evidence, or your interpretation of that, or if you're using actual Islamic arguments and things like that, well, one can argue if it's not even really your place to talk about that, even from an Islamic perspective, because the fatwas that usually come out for any community normally have to come from scholars or sheikhs that know the culture and know what's been going on. So you have to take that into account. And when you're halfway across the world, even if you've just visited the place or lived there for years, you can never really know the ins and outs of A, the culture, and B, the kind of the political, socio-political situation on the ground. So was he out of place when he said those things? I believe that, yeah. I mean, that's one instance where, and I don't agree with everything Brother Umar Lee says, but in his article that we referenced at I4E, even if you spend years in a particular region, it doesn't give you the right to comment on it just because, you don't know what those people have been going through. Can you argue from an Islamic standpoint that what he was saying is correct? You could, there's a hadith about obey the ruler as long as they establish the salat, or even if they're a tyrant. But I mean, how much really can one people take? Tell that to the people whose lives were destroyed. So it could come off as pretty caustic. It would be the same. Well, not the same thing, but if you reverse the situation and then you get people commenting on how converts should handle themselves, and it's really painful when you have, for example, a female convert to Islam who's not wearing the hijab because she's going to get kicked out by her family or killed by her family or whatever, and then people are still criticizing her because she's not wearing it. You don't know what this person's going through. You don't know what their life situation is. You don't know even if the imam gave her like a fatwa khas that you don't have to wear it. So, and it really strikes a nerve. When you're not living in that situation, you can comment on what people are going through. So, it's kind of just saviorism in general, and it really, it's I can understand why it would make a lot of people upset in that regard. And you really don't see this between different, Muslim subcommunities or Muslim nations criticizing or being critical or giving advice to other, Islamic, quote unquote, Islamic nations. When there's a mujaddid or someone who revitalizes the religion, they're usually just stay regional and just comment on affairs going on where in their locale. It's very rare for even whether it's a politician or an Islamic figure or a sheikh to comment on the affairs of what's going on, in another region of the globe, right? So, and that's that's what it comes to sensitive situations. Now, if you're if you're well qualified and you're did your education, commenting on things going on in societies that are just directly related to religion and nothing else. I mean, I can understand why you would want to give advice in that regard. a perfect example of this is Abdul Rahim Green will really criticize the basically polytheism that's going on in a lot of Muslim countries. I mean, there's really no excuse for that. But in any case, I don't think that the white savior complex or paradigm, which is kind of like this never-ending cycle, is healthy for anyone involved. It just creates more and more animosity between us and the rest of our brothers and sisters. It really detracts us from, sort of fostering a healthy environment and, repairing the relationship with our families, with our community. And it gives the impression that, a lot of people see, the zeal of the white convert, and they think to themselves, wow, I could never do that. If converting to Islam means, I do A, B, C, D, in addition to that, be the spokesperson and completely change my culture and my dress and everything about me, then no thanks. I don't want to be involved in this. So instead, I think we just have to start at the most very basic level. And, and some, like Muslim scholars and speakers and imams are going to criticize this. They're going to say, no, if you convert, you got to go all in. It's all or nothing, right? And I say to that, I mean, there's lots of Muslims who are not practicing at all right now, or half and half. And I'm not here to criticize them either. Everyone's at different levels, and we're all here to support each other. We're all trying to, get through that door and get into paradise. And there are born Muslims who are not practicing at all. Am I gonna, criticize them constantly? No. I mean, you just want to try to give them gentle reminders, or just lead by example, and hopefully, they change their mind on things. But I mean, like I said, we need to foster an environment where, even people starting out at ground level 1 who have who are not going to jump right in, we still need to, have support for those people. And the best way to do that is to have our own sub-community. There's a few other things I wanted to talk about, like, for example, things that were quoted in Brother Umar's article. Again, like America, or wherever country you're living is what we know. Commenting on affairs, what's going on outside, it really shouldn't be our business, right? So, like I remember, I was just to think, why do women walk behind the men in countries like Afghanistan? By the way, when I went to Mecca, I had the opportunity to go to Mecca for Umrah. I never saw that once. I never ever saw a woman walking behind her husband. So that's one of those myths. But, it's something that's, you see in the media and the news, they'll sensationalize it. Someone explained it to me, like, basically in Afghanistan, there's a lot of landmines, right? So that changes your perspective on things, when you look at what's going on in different cultures and countries. So it's best to, kind of, tread lightly and not try to get involved with, giving advice right off the bat. I know it's, you want to give, you want to just revitalize the Ummah yourself. But again, a lot of the times it just ends up, making things absolutely worse. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Yeah, I guess join us in next time. I'm going to take a break from some of these reason episodes, kind of an interlude, and give more of a kind of an explanation on, I guess, dispelling a lot of myths and misconceptions about Islam, which I think is important because, there's a lot of non-Muslims watching this page. And, there's a lot of things that you hear about Islam that are either not true, or there's much more nuance to it that, these issues are a lot more complicated than what the media makes it out to be. So I want to do videos like that as like an interlude and kind of get away from these reason videos. But in any case, thank you for tuning in. My name is Rob from Islam for Europeans. Assalamu alaikum, and have yourself a wonderful night.